recreation for more than 200,000 people across the state and millions across the nation. And whereas, in an effort to make motorcycling in Ohio a safer and more enjoyable sport, motorcycling organizations from around the state are now planning a collective venture to promote motorcycle awareness. And whereas, all motorcycle organizations, clubs, dealerships, groups, and highway safety officials in our state should join Abate of Ohio, Inc. and the Motorcycle Ohio program in actively promoting safe operation, increased rider training, improved licensing efforts, and motorist awareness. And whereas, during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of the roadways throughout the state of Ohio. Therefore, be it resolved, I, Aaron D. Montz, Mayor of the City of Tiffin, do hereby proclaim the month of May in the City of Tiffin as Motorcycle Awareness Month, and urge all members of our community to join in recognition of this significant occasion and achievement of motorcycle organizations and enthusiasts. On this 16th day of May in the year of our Lord, 2022, this was done under the hand of His Honor, Aaron D. Mons. And I have always desperately wanted a motorcycle. I have been told rather firmly the answer to that is no. My father-in-law rode a motorcycle for years, and he told me, Ben, that might just be something you need to do and ask for forgiveness. I don't know how that's going to work. Sorry, honey, I bought a $15,000 Harley. My bad. But what a wonderful proclamation. The history of the motorcycle culture in the United States is certainly a fascinating one, tracing its way all the way back to veterans groups returning from overseas and establishing that for the camaraderie and the joy of riding free. Our second mayoral proclamation this week has to do with emergency medical services. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Aaron D. Montz, Mayor of the City of Tiffin, Ohio, hereby proclaim May 15th through 21st, 2022 in the City of Tiffin as Emergency Medical Services Week, with the EMS Strong theme, EMS Week, Rising to the Challenge. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. This was done under my hand on the 16th day of May in the year of our Lord 2022, signed by His Honor Aaron D. Mons. And certainly we owe a tremendous debt to those who provide emergency medical and life-saving services. I've had to use them far more often than I would prefer in this new year. Does anyone have any comments or anything they would like to add with regard to either of those wonderful mayoral proclamations? If there are any EMS or emergency services folks in the room, we would like to sincerely thank you on behalf of City Council. We are now very lucky this evening to be joined by Chief Pauly, who got rid of his beard. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I feel great. It's sun shining out. I got to get rid of the beard.
I understand. Chief Polly is going to provide the Tiffin Police Department's annual report for 2021. So Chief Polly, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Council. And it's great to see a packed house here for what I cannot even believe is for my presentation on annual report. Fantastic. So thank you all for being here for that. I do appreciate the opportunity to highlight the year that the police department had in 2021. I look forward to answering your questions at the conclusion of the presentation. But before I do, and Mr. City Administrator, my time doesn't start yet because I got one additional slide here that you don't have, folks. Yesterday was Memorial Day for National Police Week, honoring my fallen brothers and sisters in law enforcement. We're actually in the midst, right in the middle of Police Week right now, or nearing the end of it now. And you'll notice that Police Week started May 11th. It starts in the middle of a week, and that's because police in public service, folks in public service don't have a Monday through Friday week. We don't have weekends off all the time. And so whenever the 15th falls, which is the Memorial Day, they look for the week that kind of has that encompassed within it. And so that's why Police Week started May 11th to the 17th. I felt it was important to begin this presentation with a few facts about law enforcement in our country. 2021 was the deadliest year for deaths of police officers with 584. 2021 saw 10 officers killed in the line of duty in the state of Ohio. COVID-19 was the #1 killer of police officers in both 2020 and in 2021 and accounted for 3 in Ohio last year. Suicides, as you can see highlighted, are not counted in the law enforcement annual fatality report, but had they been, and if they would be, they would remain second on the list of deaths for law enforcement officer in this country. This is why, as I'll go through and as I've articulated to this body before, wellness and resiliency is really important to me and really important in the field of law enforcement. And as we get into it, you'll see that that's a major part of my vision. We have to keep our people healthy. We have to keep the department healthy, and it's going to just provide better services out there for our community. So with that, City Administrator Thornton, we can start the time. So my predecessor had a mission and values that he had already articulated and documented and memorialized for the police department. When I came on board at the end, really the beginning of the year, but I was somewhat a part of things happening at the end of last year. I developed a vision along with many others to come up with a strategy going forward for this police department. So just briefly, the Tiffin Police Department, utilizing 21st century policing methods and strategies, will be the best department of its size in the state of Ohio. Those methods and strategies will include community outreach, departmental transparency, employee wellness and resiliency, and professional police training. As we go through the slides today, you can see that at least some of those pillars are starting to come through already at the police department, and I'll highlight those as we see them. In 2021, 2 of our own passed away. Larry Bean was an officer and a lieutenant for the department in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and George Scaife was an officer in Tiffin in the 1960s. Our staff changes in 2021. We lost 2 dispatchers. We had a lieutenant retire. 1 administrative professional left us, but we hired 1 dispatcher, 3 police officers, and 1 administrative professional. We also promoted a sergeant to lieutenant, an officer to sergeant, and 1 officer was laterally promoted to detective. And additionally, the nationwide chief search was on in 2021, and a swearing-in ceremony happened near the end of last year for your new chief. some substantial purchases, and you may not have all these slides, folks. I added some things as I went along and then took some things out, so I don't think you have this one, but I wanted to include some purchases that the police department made in 2021. Just some bigger ones. The 2 cruisers, that's an annual thing. Every year we try and get 2 new cruisers, replace some old cruisers. A police department takes its toll on vehicles, and so we have to keep those running. The patrol division is the backbone of any department, and we have to keep those folks in good working vehicles so that they can make sure that the community is protected. We bought a year-round speed trailer. It's one of those things that clocks you as you're driving by. You can see what your speed is as you're driving past it. It's really a lot of it is about educating the community. If we have an area where a constituent has said that this is, we're getting a lot of speeders in the area, can you have police come down here? And we can do that, but not being able to be everywhere all the time, putting that trailer out there kind of reminds people, hey, I'm going a little too fast. You might be listening to some good music on a night like this and just be pushing that gas pedal a little much. And so that just is a little reminder. We did purchase some tasers in 2021. Officers carry less than lethal tool on their belt, and most of them carry tasers. And so we wanted to make sure we had good functioning less than lethal for them. Simunitions is non-lethal training, less than lethal training for our officers and special operators. What it does is it's really truly called force on force training. It tries to simulate reality. And so using these simunitions, we can put officers in very stressful and anxious situations where they have to use their critical thinking skills and think their way out of situations. And using simunitions helps us get as real life as we possibly can during those times. Did purchase 2 pieces of software at the end of last year. ProPhoenix is a case management system, a records management system, and we had not been up to date on that, and so we needed a maintenance upgrade, a 2-year maintenance upgrade, and so we had to pay for that to get us up to standards that we needed to be at. And then upon my coming on at the end of last year into the beginning of this year, I wanted an early warning system for the department. As a part of this transparency that I talked about, as part of this wellness program that I've talked about. An early warning system is this. It's a program that assists supervisors and leadership within an agency in identifying patterns and trends in employees. That could be good stuff, and it can be maybe some poor behavior. And it gives us some cues and some reminders and some alarms, basically, that we might need to talk with an employee about something. And the purpose of it is to get a hold of that employee and have a conversation with them before the behavior gets worse. And then there's the need for discipline. And so it's really about catching bad behavior or poor behavior or leading up to poor behavior before it really causes a problem for the police department, for the city, and for the officer, frankly. It also helps us identify issues of maybe an officer is in crisis or an employee is in crisis, and we're able to see some of those things and maybe have a talk, maybe get them in counseling, maybe get them some help if they need it. The patrol division, as I said before, is the backbone of our department, and it remains the primary mechanism for handling emergency and non-emergency calls for service. The division consists of 1 lieutenant, 6 sergeants, and 16 officers. And I'm not going to read all of that to you, so you can take a deep breath. In 2021, our activity increased in all major categories of traffic offenses except for driving under suspension citations. Our operating a vehicle under the influence citations increased by 30%, which shows me, frankly, the proactive patrol enforcement that was going on in 2021, at least the second half of 2021. We were much more of a reactive department. Everybody nationwide in law enforcement was more of a reactive kind of law enforcement than proactive, and largely because of COVID protocols and precautions. It is this proactive approach in road patrol, in conjunction with good work by our Detective Bureau, that has led to the crime rate in Tiffin to decrease by 4% overall and decrease by 5% in Part 1 crimes, so your more violent crimes. The national trend in violent crime is increased in 2021 and is on an upward trajectory right now in 2022. The continued partnership Tiffin PD enjoys with the citizens of Tiffin and their vigilance in reporting suspicious activity will assist us in keeping our crime rates lower than cities of the same size around the country. That is a credit to this community working with the police department, and I want to say on behalf of the Tiffin Police Department, thank you to the city and the community of Tiffin. We handled just a few more accidents in 2021 than we did the previous year. About 28% increase in injury accidents, but we had no fatalities in the city. The top areas of traffic crashes occurred on private property: Walmart, Kroger, and McDonald's, as you can see there. And out of the top 10 places where the most accident locations, only 3 were in public intersections: Market Street and Sandusky Street, Market and Monroe, and East Market and South Washington Street. Our dispatch center is responsible for handling 911 calls and non-emergency calls, as well as informational calls on a 24-hour basis. They are the lifeline to both the Tiffin officers and the Tiffin Fire and EMS. I don't know if you can even see it in the slide, but they're juggling like flames, and I call it juggling chainsaws, but someone didn't feel like I should put chainsaws in the slide, so that's what we came up with. But it really truly is juggling chainsaws. They multitask all the time, and multitasking, as you know, is a skill set. It is something that you have to learn. As human beings, it's human nature, especially when there's a crisis, that we narrow our vision and we get very focused in on whatever the crisis might be. And it is controlled chaos in a dispatch center. It just is. But these dispatchers have to learn not to go with human nature and start listening to everything, because as chaos is happening over here, 911 call comes in, an officer needs some help over here, someone is calling in on a complaint of something. It is always something in the dispatch center. And so it's a credit to them that they're able to do this, but it is a skill set and it does take some time to get the hang of that. Dispatch complaints went up by 30%. And our response to 911 calls went down in time by nearly 10%. The importance of that is this: our response time goes down for 911 calls. That means we get somewhere faster. The faster we can answer and respond to a 911 call, the faster we can get an officer to respond to the location and get help. So that's a good thing. Calls for service went up, frankly, when the world kind of opened up after COVID. And so that's going to trend up. Our calls for service will continue to go up. Our records department. Records department consists of 1 full-time employee to handle all police records, all forms of citations, and keeps us straight on our retention schedules and assists the public daily with requests and expungements. Now, I listed a whole bunch of stuff here, and I'm not going to read it all, but I have to tell you, we have one person, Patty Huffman, in the records department. It used to be a job for 2 people, and she does a phenomenal job of just handling things that come in constantly. She is always working on something, and it's always something different. So it's a credit to her in our records department, but really she just does a great job in keeping us straight and getting those records out to the community. Some of the stats that she accumulates for me from the records department. Our parking citations went down in 2021. However, our revenue for those parking citations went up. And I thought of all those stats, that was the most curious one to me. So I wanted to do a deeper dive. Why is that? Why did our citations go down, but our revenue went up? And as it turns out, it's a credit, once again, to our patrol division, who were very proactive in handicap parking violations. Those are deeper pocket violations. They cost a little more money. And so the fines are a little steeper. And so, you know, we have a lot of folks in this community that just need need some help getting somewhere, and they need those spots to be open. And so I love that our police department is out there putting citations on vehicles that aren't supposed to be parking there. They're supposed to be there for the folks that need them. So kudos to the patrol division. Our criminal investigation division, our detective bureau, is comprised of 1 lieutenant, 3 detectives, and 1 administrative professional. In the first 3 months of 2022, there has been a 134% increase in fentanyl surging into our country. This is why the Tiffin Police Department, as long as I'm chief, will have someone dedicated from the Detective Bureau assigned to the Drug Task Force. The scourge is everywhere, and we need to make sure that we're working with regionally with this task force to get it under control. So our criminal division opened more and closed more cases in 2021 than the previous year, and had a 107% increase in felony charges from 2020 to 2021. That's a nationwide trend of activity increasing again as our economy and everything else starts to open up. So does bad things open up as well. Crime stats went up. However, there was a notable decrease in our burglaries, B&Es, and petty theft offenses. This is again a credit to patrol and the criminal division. When we get a problem area of some thefts in a neighborhood, maybe, we use what we call problem-oriented policing. So we target that area, we see that there's a problem, and we put different resources into that area. We might have directed patrol. We might have people walking the beat in that area, walking at night in plain clothes. But whatever it is, it helped to decrease burglaries, B&Es, and petty theft offenses last year. Our criminal division clearance rate is 77% for all cases in 2021, and you compare that to the statewide clearance rate of Part 1 crimes of 23.5%, and the nationwide clearance rate of 32.5%. So again, our detectives are working their butts off and doing a great job for us. Any Browns fans in here might recognize the Mayflower truck. The criminal division has had to move around a little bit, and when I became chief, they moved again. So in the 1940s, when the police department moved into the municipal building, the criminal division was put in the basement, and it stayed there for years until 2018. There was a renovation here, and at that point in time, the Detective Bureau moved to the first floor, and the command staff, so the chief, lieutenants, and command staff moved to the second floor of this building. So when I came on as chief, and just prior to coming on as chief, I talked to all the employees, I talked with the command staff, and a decision was made that we needed to be in the thick of it as command staff. As the chief and as the lieutenants of this department, we needed to be accessible to the road patrol and to dispatch and to the public, and they needed to be accessible to us. And so at the end of last year, at the end of 2021, we moved the command staff to the first floor to be in the thick of it with everybody, and the Detective Bureau moved to the second floor. And hopefully that will be it as far as moving for them. Our special response team and crisis negotiation teams are specially trained in their areas of responsibility. It's a lot of training and a lot of work, but I look at it this way. We don't have a fire every day in Tiffin, but Chief Chappell has those folks ready to go to do their job when they need to do it, and they do it at a very high level. That's because of training. And with our special response team and crisis negotiations teams, our folks need to be specially trained so that when the call comes, they are specially trained and ready to go to serve us and to protect us. And so they're not used all the time, and sometimes there's pushback as to why we even have specialized units like that. We have specialized units like that because when the time comes, you want specialized units like that. Last year, or I guess just this year too, our teams have about 12 members. We have 7 special operators, and we have 5 negotiators, And in 2022, we added 2 drone operators. The team is looking to build as a regional team with Fostoria Police Department and the Seneca County Sheriff's Office. And so we're going to try and build a bigger team together to serve the whole area of Tiffin, Fostoria, and Seneca County. SRT was called out on 13 missions in 2021, 6 high-risk warrants, and 7 barricaded subjects. That's more than twice the number that we had in 2020. And if the trend is right, we're going to see that number go higher in 2022, unfortunately. The Metrich Task Force, as I had mentioned, we assigned a detective to the Metrich Task Force. They had a 17% decrease in total cases as a unit, but Tiffin specifically had a decrease of 4% in total cases. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. When we assign a detective, and Fostoria assigns a detective, and the Sheriff's Office assigns a detective, when something big happens at those agencies, they need their detectives back to help with the bigger cases. And so that slows down productivity with the task force as well. But it's just the way it has to be in this kind of a community. We just have to be able to do that. But the bigger reason, and maybe the more important reason why we're seeing a decrease in total cases, is the task force is focusing more on bigger cases, more complex cases. And so they're really going after the criminal enterprise to take the whole thing down, not just the one guy or the one user or the one dealer. They're going after everything. They're trying to cut the head off the snake. And so because of that, we're going to see less and less cases because they're bigger cases. They're more complex cases. Does that make sense? All right. In 2021, we saw a 39% decrease in the total overdose cases and a 38% decrease in overdose fatalities. I was really hesitant about even saying that or putting that in the report because the last thing I want anyone to think is that we're winning this battle. We are not winning this battle. In the first 3 months, as I said before at the top, we had a 134% increase in fentanyl surging into this country. And based on other search warrants, non-drug search warrants out there in our community and others, we're still seeing needles everywhere. We're still seeing Naxalon containers everywhere. So we know that this is all out there. It's just not being reported to us, or we're not finding that yet. So don't think because of that decrease that we're losing or that we're winning this fight. We're not losing it. We're battling it. But we certainly are not winning it right now. Based on the first 3 months of this year, our numbers of overdose cases, unfortunately, are starting to trend up. And just as an aside, there is a new synthetic drug out there called nitazene. It's you've probably heard it called the Frankenstein opioid out there. It's a new synthetic drug. It's about 40 times more potent than fentanyl. And the drug, or the crime lab, the state crime lab, whom I have some friends at the state crime lab, have informed me that in the first 3 months, we have seen in the state of Ohio 143 cases of nitazene coming through the crime lab. And then that's just in the first 3 months. That compares to 27 cases in 2021. So we're seeing this giant increase right now. So that's a scary drug out there, folks. So again, we need to keep helping that Metrich Task Force when we can. All right, response to aggression. Response to aggression means the amount of effort or force required by police to compel compliance by an unwilling subject. In my vision statement, I pledged transparency, and that's why you're seeing this. There's no reason to hide internal affairs things. There's no reason to hide use of force issues. And so we're just going to talk about it, and I'll bring it out, and if you have questions about it, I'll be happy to answer it. But every time any use of force is used by our officers, a report is made, it's documented, and then it's reviewed. And it's a comprehensive review. And once that is done, if it looks like it's outside of policy, the person's going to be disciplined for it. If it looks like it's inside policy, then we're good to go and we'll move on. Understand, response to aggression doesn't just mean the everyday, daily, hands-on that you see officers do. We would have hundreds and hundreds of cases of that. This kind of is over the top. This is when someone is trying to do harm to an officer or others, and force on force has to be used. And in 2021 and in 2020, we had 18 incidents of response to aggression that were documented and looked into. And in all fairness, as I'm driving in tonight, we had another one tonight. A subject was trying to run away. He had a warrant for his arrest. He was trying to run away, and officer tussled with him, and ended up, there was a taser discharge today. So that will be a report then generated for me, and I'll review that. Several of us will review that in the coming days. In only 2.8% of all of 2021 arrests made, where there was a need to respond to the arrested person's aggression. So we're trying to arrest someone and they want to fight back, hard. They want to fight back hard. In only 2.8% of all of the arrests did we have to do that. Compare that to nationwide at 14.1 and at the state level of 8.2. So of the 18 incidents where there was force used by our officers, 50% of the time, 50% of those cases, of those 18 incidents, they were trying to assault the officer. In 78% of those cases, the subject had a history of being armed and violent. In 89% of those cases, the subjects were impaired by drugs, alcohol, or were suffering from some form of mental health. I look at this 2.8% and I am proud of the Tiffin Police Department at being able to mitigate the incidents of force because of de-escalation techniques that they've been taught and trained on and trained on and trained on. And these officers know how to talk people down. And that is why you see 2.8% and not a 14.1 in Tiffin, Ohio. Oh, I probably should have shown that slide as I was talking about it, but here we go. All right, internal affairs. As a part of public transparency, all citizens and internal investigations are documented, and when appropriate, discipline is administered to an employee. In 2021, there were 3 investigations, internal investigations conducted. One was unfounded, one the officer was exonerated, and in one instance the incident was sustained. And I compare that to 7 incidents in 2020. So community engagement, 2020 was horrible for community engagement because of COVID, and 2021 was not much better. Probably near the end, maybe the last 4 or 5 months of 2021, a little bit more happened. But these were the programs that the Tiffin Police Department likes to tout as their community engagement. In 2021, that's what we were able to do. And that's largely because of COVID. We couldn't be out there doing some of the things. This year, we will be doing all these programs and more. It has been a part of, again, one of the pillars of our vision is to be out in the community and outreach with the community. And it really just needs to be in the DNA of every employee of the Tiffin Police Department to be out there and engaged with the community. So that's hopefully, so it's not just a program, it's more than a program. We have some staff awards, some kudos to many of our officers and staff. We had 2 Valors, 1 Meritorious, 4 Life-Saving Awards, 4 Community Service Awards. There's really 3 only mentioned there, but 1 officer received it twice for 2 different incidents. We had 2 recovered stolen vehicles, an officer and a dispatcher of the year, and we had 3 with perfect attendance. 1 officer has won his 9th award of perfect attendance, and that shows his dedication to the Tiffin Police Department. And finally, I provided all of you with a comprehensive description of the strategic goals for 2022 and 2023, and it breaks down these 7 categories into some subcategories. And I'm happy to discuss any of those with you now or another time privately. You can do that, but yeah, you have all of the strategies going forward. And to end on, just thank you, Mayor Motz, thank you, City Administrator Thornton, City Council, for everything you do for this community. I'd like to thank all the department heads for helping the new guy get his feet under him, and the continued support of the Tiffin community. And last, certainly but not least, the men and women of the Tiffin Police Department. I thank them every day for the work that they do for this community. And with that, I'll answer questions, and seeing none, thank you very much.
Well, Chief Pauli, first I'd like to commend you for the phenomenal report. And also just reiterate our support. We're very glad to have you. I know you've had a very decorated career in law enforcement, and you know, I don't know how the numbers work, but I would imagine you're relatively close to the retirement age, and with the beautiful family you have, you know, you could have probably ridden off into the sunset, but you're back serving your community, and I think that's pretty amazing. Do we have any questions for Chief Pauli or any comments we would like to share? Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief Pauli, you mentioned that 2 dispatchers left in 2021 and one of them was replaced. Is there a need to replace that other one, or is it something in the works? Because you said, I think you used the term lifeblood of the department.
They are, yes. So yes, so one was replaced in 2021, and then we've hired another one in 2022 to cover the 2. So we're just kind of getting up to speed again. Knock on wood. Number 7 always seems to be trouble at the Tiffin Police Department. We got to keep 7 and to keep our schedule working correctly, and so those girls aren't working too much overtime. So, yep.
Councilmember Jones.
Thank you. And one more. Mentioned purchasing 11 tasers in 2021. Is that enough for every uniformed officer, or?
Yes, every officer has their own taser now, and that was the purpose of getting those 11, to make sure everyone that wanted one had one, so we have one for every officer. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm not going to stump him, so I'm done.
Well, I'll attempt to. Do you know that TASER is an acronym? Do you happen to know what it stands for?
No, Mr. President.
There's a very good, I told this to my wife the other day and she accused me of fibbing, but I believe it stands for Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. I kid you not.
I would ask someone look that up, Google that. I'm not sure that that's true.
Mr. Media member, Mr. Dutro. Wanted to thank you for the presentation early on where you mentioned the officers that have passed on, Officer Bean and Mr. Scaife. Also, I know one of the things that I am always very grateful to do when I help Councilmember Perry with the pedal bike is we stop by the All Patriots Memorial and we talk about Marshall Schultz and we talk about Patrick Sweeney. And my brother-in-law, John, is a police officer in Findlay, and there's a sign on the way out the door that says, "Come home safe." And just the amount of responsibility that our police and their families shoulder is pretty awesome to behold, because nobody that encounters the police or finds themselves in need of services is having a very good day. And
typically we're there on their worst day.
Yeah, typically on their very worst day, and we're just very grateful. Any other questions for Chief Pauli? Councilmember Perry.
Just one question. Do you have any concerns with hiring in the next, foreseeable future? I don't think a lot of people are getting into this business.
Sure. So, so when I first looked into the chief's position, I explored that whole area of topic deep. I went deep in it. And so there's a lot of angst out there with law enforcement. As you know, over the course of the last few years, law enforcement hasn't been on everybody's top list. But the truth is, everybody's having a tough time. Public service in general is having a tough time. And I used to think, prior to getting into this position, I used to think that it was just a matter of an attraction issue. We had to do a better job of marketing, or a better job of how can we attract folks into public service. And the truth is, everybody is having a tough time that's in the area of public service, attracting people to come work for them. So yeah, it's tough. It's difficult right now.
Just one follow, very good presentation. I think we obviously speak for everybody who knocked it out of the park by getting you on board. So really, thank you for everything you've done here recently. So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I feel like one thing that we have going for us, which is very beneficial, is the public safety training program at Sentinel Career Center. I have some students that have, from an early age, have wanted to be involved in law enforcement, and then once they're able to take that course out at Sentinel, they decide either, okay, this is absolutely what I want to do. I think of someone like Mikey McDowell, and then I have other students that are like, okay, I think I want to pivot. So I think we have that benefit. We've got Tiffin University. If we can continue to form good relationships with Tiffin University with their excellent law enforcement programs, I feel like we're going to have an advantage over a number of different communities.
Yeah, and Mr. President, both colleges, both universities do a very good job in their criminal justice programs. And I think if we can snag some of those students that are getting ready to graduate, that would be great for this community.
Now, with the other hat I wear with Tiffin City Schools, would you say overall you were pleased with Officer Skornica as the SRO? I know the kids are extraordinarily fond of Officer Doug.
Yeah, so we took a really deep dive into it when I first started, just because I wasn't familiar with everything. And what I found is he does just a fantastic job with those kids. He's actually almost just another administrator within the school system, but the kids love him. They're drawn to him. He does a great job of speaking with them and talking with them and counseling them and mentoring them in all sorts of areas. And then he brings his dog Scout in, and everyone forgets about Officer Skornica, and they love his dog. So he does a fantastic job.
Absolutely. One other issue that I feel like needs to be brought up publicly, terrified of the super opioid that you mentioned. Something that I imagine is going to be coming down the pike, and in fact, this was one of my very first meetings of City Council. We have to be heading towards, complete decriminalization of marijuana and the sale of recreational or medicinal. How do you suppose Tiffin is set in that regard?
Well, I'm not positive Tiffin's going to have a choice in that regard.
Right.
I think that's going to happen at some point in time in our near future, that it will be we'll legalize the usage of marijuana recreationally. That is definitely on the horizon. So much on the horizon that now canine handlers are retraining their dogs not in smelling for cannabis anymore or marijuana. They're being trained for other sorts of drugs and other things because everyone kind of sees the writing on the wall coming.
And I'd read a phenomenal article in the Times talking about how one of the issues that has to be overcome is, it hasn't really been, especially medicinal, hasn't been rolled out. Like, this is how much you should take for this. It's kind of, okay, everybody, here's your card, or, Michigan's an hour away, have fun.
Right.
And it doesn't quite seem to be, I don't know, I guess standardized at this point.
It's not very standardized. In fact, most of the edibles that are out there right now you don't know the dosage really in them. And so, no, that is something that has to come down. We have to figure something out with that, especially if we're going down the road of legalizing it.
I would especially like to see that as a priority for Tiffin PD. Working with middle and high school students, they're going to be exposed to that very regularly, and I think just the information is out there. Having the information out there about potential effects and here's what you should not do. You know, I think we've learned through all of our teen years that, you know, you can't just outright say, no, don't do that.
Sure.
You know, you have to have the education out there so that they can make well-informed choices.
Sure.
Excellent. Outstanding, Chief Pauly. Any other questions? So I would like to backtrack just a hair. Mayor Montz, as some of you may know, tested positive for COVID and is unable to attend this evening. He is watching along, you know, very, very closely. Began to feel ill, mainly cold symptoms, but did test positive and is in the quarantining process, so he will not be here this evening. I believe he is still feeling well enough to check emails and responses, and you know, we wish the mayor a speedy recovery. As someone who's battled the effects of long COVID for quite some time, you know, it's really incumbent on him to rest and take it easy. And we also have, and I'm going to ask Mr. Dutro to assist with this, we have someone in the audience tonight to accept our proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Week. And I'd be honored to present that. Mr. Dutro, do you happen to know who that is? Is there anyone here?
Possibly may have left.
Okay, very good. Well, we will attempt to make contact with them. And Chief Pauly, any final thoughts?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to, I'd like to take a moment to ask Councilman Leopard to bring something up for discussion here.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would so move the city council members retire into executive session along with the city administrator, Dale Thornton, finance director, Kathy Kaufman, Mr. Steve Friedman, an attorney for the city of Tiffin, legal aid, Mr. Daniel Longergan. The purpose of executive session is to consult with an attorney in a matter concerning imminent or pending litigation. Executive session will be held in the police conference room.
Very good. We have a motion on the table to retire to executive session for the purposes of discussing potential litigation. Do we have a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second to retire to executive session with the members listed by Councilmember Leopard in the police training or conference room? What's the?
Conference room.
In the police conference room. Is there any discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a roll on the motion.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Harry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Yes. Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno. Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We will adjourn to executive session at 7:52 p.m.
Council President, your acronym was correct.
It's like I host a trivia night or something.
Well, interestingly enough, Swift is not the name of the inventor, but a character from a novel the inventor was quite smitten by.
Oh my gosh.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor.
What's going on? What are you up to?
Actually, no, I was driving downtown. It's the chairman of the Democratic Party back here. Holy shit. I purchased some extra chairs. Last week I had the university club. I was worried about like doctors and professors. I've seen you for a while. Yeah, it works out perfect. Yep, nobody on that side. Yeah. I got everything situated. We have a few. Now that I'm worried, but I don't know about integrating. I don't know. The newest, like, every time you do one, you're still on the adding it. You work this and add to it. New, you brought it since I started. You have any idea why they're I'm serious. That is not very interesting.
After working in another area, I was really excited about the opportunity to come back to a place where I spent over a decade. When it came time to plant roots and start a family, we wanted to do it right here in Ohio. This is where I learned my values. This is where I learned my appreciation for television news. What excites me most about it is being able to tell people stories. I spent a number of years in Cleveland and Cincinnati, and it's given me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
Little everyday conversations about the dangers of underage drinking can make a big difference in a child's life.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers.
Where I'll just stay right behind these black gates.
Presidential recordings. Find it on the C-SPAN Now mobile app. or wherever you get your podcasts. C-SPAN is your unfiltered view of government. We're funded by these television companies and more, including Buckeye Broadband.
To form a micro barrier against paint bleed, giving you the sharpest lines possible. Get professional results with Frog Tape. No messy lines, no paint bleed. For sharp lines, every time, Frog it.
Do you worry every time you leave your dog home alone? Well, you could try to invent a pet parent replacement robot specifically designed to help your dog feel less alone.
Good doggy.
Or you could simply plug in some Thunder Ease. Thunder Ease helps your dog feel calm during the scary stuff like fireworks, thunder, or being alone. Available in a calming diffuser, spray, or collar. Thunder Ease is drug-free, vet recommended, and 100% guaranteed. So ease their anxiety with Thunder Ease.
Culver's couldn't have started anywhere but in Sauk City, Wisconsin. Still today, we are a family restaurant. Here, nearby farms grow the food we eat, smiles are contagious, and everyone is someone's neighbor. It's a place where our love of fresh food is as strong as our love for each other. It's a feeling of welcome you'll notice the moment you stop by. Because where we come from has made us who we are, and for that, we couldn't be more proud. Welcome to Delicious.
Planning for your future and deciding on continued education is one of the biggest steps you take in life. Be sure to catch Education Matters each week for helpful guidance toward your future.
Education Matters, sponsored by the Ohio Education Association.
Hello and welcome to a very special airing of Downton Abbey, the film. It's the perfect way to catch up and prepare for the Crawley household's most exciting adventure yet in Downton Abbey, A New Era, which opens only in theatres this Friday.
The British are coming.
Now keep watching throughout the broadcast tonight for some behind-the-scenes sneak peeks into the making of the new film. You can get tickets for Downton Abbey, A New Era now at DowntonAbbeyTickets.com. But for the time being, pour yourself a cup of tea and enjoy the show.
Becoming mainly clear during the night. We'll dip down in some spots into the upper 40s to start out Tuesday morning. We'll be comfortable and mostly dry into the afternoon. Here's your forecast for Tuesday, up to 72 in Toledo, upper 60s, though, across northeastern Ohio with lots of sun.
Now, on Spectrum News 1, a string of mass shootings over the weekend prompting debate on issues like gun laws and extremism. Thank you for joining us here on Spectrum News. I'm Curtis Jackson. We're going to talk to an extremism expert this hour about the devastating shooting in Buffalo. And we're also going to look at what Ohio's leaders are doing to keep Ohioans safe here at home. Plus, HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge, former Cleveland Congresswoman, announces that the Biden administration has a new housing supply action plan. What this means for the state's continued demand as it relates to housing. And later, Ohio's lawmakers on Capitol Hill weighing in on the recent Supreme Court draft opinion on Roe v. Wade that was leaked just a few weeks ago. We've got the latest coming up. President Biden paid tribute to the retired police officer who was killed trying to stop that mass shooting in a Buffalo supermarket. The president praised him at a White House ceremony honoring public safety officers. As the investigation continues, experts who study extremism are focusing on a racist conspiracy theory allegedly espoused by the gunman. Here's Angie Gonzalez with more.
The killing of 10 black people in Buffalo is putting a spotlight on a racist ideology known as the replacement theory. It's a baseless belief that a plot is trying to reduce the influence of white people, mainly through immigration. The gunman allegedly invoked the theory in a racist screed before his killing spree.
So these individuals who are in these spaces
are hearing that messaging on both sides. They're hearing it from their immediate counterparts and compatriots in that online ecosystem, in the 4chan, the Telegram, the Discord, and they're hearing it on TV at night, and they're seeing it on Twitter.
John Lewis, an expert on extremism, says right-wing media and politicians have helped to spread this rhetoric from the fringes of the internet to the nation's politics. The danger, he says, is that extremist views are more likely to find a home when a person with authority repeats them.
The consequences are people will go out and hear what you say, take that to heart, and think it's time for action.
While the motives of the Buffalo gunman are still being investigated, Democrats and estranged Republicans on Monday accused House GOP leaders of allowing such theories to take root. Republican Liz Cheney tweeted, "The House GOP leadership has enabled white nationalism, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism." And Republican Adam Kinzinger singled out the number 3 House leader on Twitter, saying, "Did you know Elise Stefanik pushes white replacement theory?" Stefanik's spokesman says the accusation is a disgusting new low for Democrats and never Trump Republicans. According to the White House, something does need to be done, at the very least, to tackle the rise in extremism in America.
We must reject hatred and extremism ideologies that seek to divide Americans whenever we find it in our society.
It does not appear the Buffalo killings and several other mass shootings over the weekend will end the stalemate in Washington over enacting new federal gun laws. The president and the first lady will travel to Buffalo on Tuesday to meet with family members of those killed in the shooting, as well as the first responders that arrived at the scene. In Washington, Angie Gonzalez, Spectrum News.
After 4 mass shootings over the weekend, many are trying to come to terms with the senseless killings in our nation. Spectrum News 1 reporter Katie Kapusta spoke with local leaders about their reactions and what our communities can do to try and prevent something like this from happening close to home.
Just days after 10 people were killed in Buffalo, New York, in what was deemed a hate crime against the black community, leaders here in Ohio are responding. They say there's a long way to go to ensure acts of violence like this don't happen again.
The scene in Buffalo has been many people's worst nightmare after 10 people were shot and killed and 3 others were injured while they were just shopping for groceries. Police say the shooting was a hate crime on the predominantly black community. And here in Ohio, many are feeling the tragedy. Woodrow Keon Jr., the president of the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center in downtown Cincinnati, says not enough progress has been made.
I feel like we're still in the fight, but it's a long fight. I always remind people this is a journey. It feels sometimes like you take two steps forward, 1 step back for the progress. I don't think that we can deny that there's been progress, but clearly it's not enough.
The Freedom Center focuses on teaching visitors the history of slavery to the principles of the Underground Railroad. Keon says while the shootings happened across the country, there are things to do here in our communities in Ohio to fight against extremist beliefs.
We need to, in this community, come to understand that better, develop more empathy, not sympathy, to help people to get past these situations that continues to cause people to drive 3.5 hours to kill people for no reason at all.
And for many of us, hearing of countless shootings over and over again is upsetting and tiring. Leaders at City Lookout, a counseling center and trauma recovery center in Springfield, say compassion fatigue is a result of so many shootings.
For people that are trying to help, you can feel overwhelmed, but you keep having to have that mindset of, okay, I can help who I can help. You know, we can do what we can do here. We can't change the world.
But Keon says if the community can work together, he's hopeful for seeing real change in the world.
It's a vision that it's the right thing to do. We know it's the best thing. It's a promise that the country made to us for freedom for all. It's in our Constitution. And until everybody lives up to that promise, I think that that's the vision that I have, and I think that's the vision we try to teach here at the Freedom Center.
For Spectrum News, I'm Katie Kapusta.
In an effort to increase safety in Cleveland's University Circle and surrounding areas, the Cleveland City Council has voted to expand the jurisdiction of the Case Western Reserve University Circle Police Departments. The two private police forces will now have policing authority in some areas outside the boundaries of the university and east of University Circle. Both departments will be patrolling and responding to calls in Little Italy, and Case Western Reserve University Police will expand its policing to a stretch of Glenville along Wade Park Avenue, where some students live. Some council members cite a rise in crime involving students, carjackings, and speeding within the past year as a reason for the expansion. And they say that additional police resources are needed as thousands of tourists visit University Circle each day.
50,000 people descend upon this area in addition to the 10,000 or so that's in there already. That's the size of a small suburban city, a small suburban community. So we need those extra resources from law enforcement in order to make sure that we keep those visitors safe.
Council President Blaine Griffin also says the change will alleviate some of the responsibility of the Cleveland Division of Police and allow them to give attention to other parts of the city. Addressing the need for affordable housing in an ever-changing market. More on a new plan being implemented after the break.
Planning a move takes a lot. Spectrum makes it easier by helping you stay connected and in control. With just a call, we can transfer your services and have them up and running before you're even unpacked. You can even select self-install options to fit your schedule best. With step-by-step instructions, it's easy to do. Then download the My Spectrum app to manage your installation and account from your mobile phone. It's your move. We're here to help. Visit spectrum.net/easymove.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2022 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. With standard symmetrical all-wheel drive plus up to 33 miles per gallon, a 260 horsepower turbocharged engine, advanced technology, and an extra-large touchscreen. The 2022 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you.
Right now, take advantage of financing as low as 1.9% at Yark Subaru. Visit yarksubaru.com.
Introducing Spectrum Advanced Home Wi-Fi, giving you more security and control over your home's network. Use the My Spectrum app to set up your Wi-Fi network name and password. Manage the devices on your network with the ability to see what's connected with Wi-Fi and rename devices to easily identify them for next time. Even control and schedule network access, so your network is only available to select devices when you want. With Spectrum Advanced Home Wi-Fi.
This place that I call. Everyone explain it to her.
Join us now during this year's Memorial Day sales event.
Awesome deals on over 450 pre-owned vehicles at Tom Alls.
GM vehicles up to $7,000 under book, like these 2019 GMC Terrains with all-wheel drive from only $23,989.
40 Silverado and Sierra pickups from $17,789.
Lots of gas-saving Chevy Malibus and Buick LaCrosses.
Plus, most vehicles come with a free lifetime warranty.
Hurry to the Memorial Day sales event going on all month long at Tom Alls.
And you'll get a real knock-your-socks-off deal.
This place that I call. Everyone explain it to her.
We had to deal with passing showers, some of you some thunderstorms as we went through the early part of Monday evening. Now as we head through the rest of the night, rain moving out, skies clearing, cooler temperatures filtering through. We'll see a lot of sunshine Tuesday. Little threat for any rain Tuesday. Still pleasantly cool, 65 to 70 in most spots for the high. Rain chances do return midweek. Temperatures will also start to jump up, and by the end of the week, it's going to be back to summer. Still that roller coaster for May, and we'll see that roller coaster into the upcoming weekend as well. But we've got another cold front moving by, and that sparked a couple of showers and storms off the lake, so we've been monitoring those. Those will slip off to the east as we head through the night. Cooler, drier air pushing in, and that sets the stage here for Tuesday. Next system just moving through the Four Corners region out west. That's what's due in here late Wednesday, but I think most of the active weather, the stronger storms will stay to the south of us Wednesday, but we could get some rain anyway. So here's your outlook for Tuesday morning with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Cool, low to mid-50s. There could be a few spots in the Mahoning Valley and northeast Ohio that dip into the upper 40s. As we head toward noon, sunny skies, still a breeze off the lake that keeps things a bit cooler from Cleveland up through Minter. Definitely near the lake shore, you get away from the lake a bit warmer, nearing 70 degrees. Tuesday night will start to increase the cloud cover from west to east. Will be mostly cloudy by Wednesday morning. Slight chance for shower early Wednesday. Better chances for rain as we get late into Wednesday. After 2 or 3 o'clock, we start to see a pretty good swath of rain come through Wednesday evening. Again, farther to the south of I-70, south of Columbus, there could be some stronger storms Wednesday. So we'll look for partly cloudy skies becoming mostly clear. A couple of spots in far northwestern Ohio, Montpelier. Wauseon could get down 48, 49 degrees, otherwise low 50s. A few spots here in the mid to upper 40s, Chardon, Ashtabula, in Warren. Showers moving off to the east with clearing skies. And then for the day Tuesday, climbing into the 60s, 60, 65 in the snowbelt counties, but 65 to 70 as you get away from the lake. It will be cooler with that northwest breeze. As we head into northwestern Ohio with the wind not off the lake, noticeably warmer, about 70 to 75, the expected high with lots of sunshine. Should be a good-looking day. So in Cleveland, a cool start in the morning, mainly clear skies, low 50s. The winds coming off the lake, though, will keep the temperatures cool through the afternoon. We'll check your 7-day here in a few minutes.
While Ohio's population is on the rise, the supply of housing has continued to be a problem in terms of meeting up with the demand. The Biden administration plans to address that issue with their new Housing Supply Action Plan. And HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge, a former Cleveland congresswoman, announced the plan in Columbus Monday. Spectrum News 1 reporter Jamila Muhammad now with more.
It's no surprise the housing market is one of many sectors that have struggled with inflation. With the growing unsheltered population in the U.S., the White House is allocating billions of dollars to address the issue. The plan will include down payment assistance, 40-year instead of 30-year mortgages, and assistance to first-time home buyers. Tax credits will be given to investors who can help develop or rehabilitate older foreclosed homes to then sell to owner-occupants like nonprofits. But the plan is not just for homeowners. The White House understands that renting is also an issue, with 1/4 of renters spending half of their paycheck on rent prior to the pandemic. Secretary Marcia Fudge said while the federal government can provide rental assistance through vouchers, they need the space to rent.
More multifamily units so that people can work. We can't do everything again, as I say, as a single family, which is what everybody wants. We have to build more units in smaller spaces so that we can create the kind of volume that we need.
One of the key ways the White House is looking to expand more multifamily units is by providing incentives for communities to reassess their zoning codes. $10 billion is being allocated to this incentive package, and Columbus is one of many cities who plan on rewriting their zoning codes this year.
Well, we have introduced you before to the do-it-yourself auto shop out of Northeast Ohio called Wingman Garage. Well, as our Taylor Brook reports, the shop has launched a special community project with a surprise.
That's what I'm saying. This 1998 Mitsubishi Eclipse is getting a complete makeover.
There you go.
Once a month on a Tuesday, automotive lovers from Northeast Ohio are encouraged to get together for this community car build.
There you go. We have guys behind me that are from all different walks of life. Young, old, fathers, sons. Last event we had mother and daughter were here, and just everybody's coming together for the love of their automotive.
Aaron Wallison is the owner of Wingman Garage, a place where anybody can rent time in a professional bay to work on their own cars. He opened the space last year and has been focused on building a community around a shared passion.
There's an underlying passion we all have for cars, whether it's cars, trucks, motorcycles, anything really with wheels and an engine. It just brings people together because you can customize these things to really make them your own and part of your own personality, and that's what people love about working on cars.
From brakes and wheels to the audio system and even a new exterior. Everything on this car will look and feel brand new.
We've touched almost everything we can on the car, aside from the major stuff. So it's going to be fun for someone to drive and enjoy, and I think they're really going to like it.
The project is self-funded by Wallison and free for the entire community.
I said I'm the observer right now. I haven't really done too much. I helped with the suspension last week, but yeah, you don't have to participate. You can come, just hang out. It's a great way to meet some friends and a great way to learn some new things.
And they're not fixing up this car for nothing.
She works,
and it sounds pretty good.
All right. At the end of the summer, the car will be raffled off for $5 a ticket.
You do not have to participate in the event to actually win the car. You can just get online, go on the website, wingmangarage.com, and you can buy your tickets for you, for your family, for friends, and anybody can win the car.
Wallison calls it an automotive lover's dream.
You can win this car.
Through building a car, they're building a stronger community. And it's not too late to get involved in this community car build. The next event is May 17th, and the car giveaway is scheduled for the end of August. In Wadsworth, I'm Taylor Bruck, Spectrum News.
Demand for mental health treatment has drastically increased. But is the healthcare system equipped to handle that increase in demand? Up next, one woman in her battle for mental health treatment.
Welcome to the future. Some assembly required. But if there's one thing this country has always embraced, it's a challenge. And after almost 120 years of building for those challenges, we're taking the vehicles you know by name and making them electric by revolutionizing the way they're built and where they're assembled, not for the few, but for the many.
Here's why it's a smart move to custom order your Ford SUV. You'll get your new Ford faster because your custom order receives priority. Plus, you'll get an extra $1,000 in bonus cash on top of all public offers when you custom order. And you'll get exactly the features you choose. Want a Bronco Sport with 7 GOAT modes? Or a 400 horsepower Explorer? You got it. Build and order your Ford SUV today and get $1,000 bonus cash in addition to all public offers.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced House Hunter. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. Zero talent. She's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Eric Elwell. It's that time to take a look at the forecast. I'll get you caught up here through the rest of the week and into the weekend. Let's talk about your Tuesday. Going to be a little cool in the morning. Mid-50s will start the day and slowly climbing through the 60s. It'll be pleasant, especially you get away from the lake. But right along the lake shore, we expect a northwest breeze at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. That'll make you feel a little cooler. The reason for that, the water temperature off the coast of Cleveland is just 50 degrees. Now, off the coast of Toledo, we're at 61. So big difference. The water temperature is probably going to cool for the next couple of days. Northwest winds 5 to 15 knots, switching to the west in the afternoon. Waves 1 to 3 feet. Beautiful day, though, expected Tuesday. Lots of sunshine, high pressure in control. Our next threat for rain coming in as we get into Wednesday, particularly in the afternoon. And really better chances south of the Turnpike, where we'll get the increased threat for rainfall. That A batch of rain pushes out of the area. Front gets hung up in southern Ohio. We'll stay dry and really heating up Thursday and Friday. Friday evening, there could be a storm. Better chances Saturday. And with us so warm at that point, there could be some intense storms as we head into this upcoming weekend. So a heads up there. Northeast Ohio, chance for showers, especially the farther south you go Wednesday. Temperatures really taking a jump, about 10 degrees per day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nearing 90 for the end of the week. Maybe a pop-up storm Friday, but heads up Saturday. Some of those storms that come through Saturday could be intense. Showers may linger into early Sunday, and look how cool we get again, back into the upper 60s. So a bit of a roller coaster the next 7 days. Into the northwest, your extended forecast. Temperatures holding steady at around 70. Showers may keep things a little cooler Wednesday. Thursday, we jump up into the 80s. How about 90 Friday? Storms come in Friday evening, some of those intense. We could see some stronger storms Saturday. Temperatures turning cooler for Sunday and Monday, dipping back into the upper 60s and lows back in the 40s by next Monday morning.
There is less stigma surrounding mental illness than perhaps ever before, but that also means that with those more options comes increased demand. Spectrum News reporter Sam Neff shows us how that can create some big problems for people who do not have time to wait.
Michaela Mullins needed a fresh start.
I wake up every morning just not in a great mood. I don't ever wake up happy, and I have to force myself to be happy, and that's just part of the process.
She packed her bags in Northern California and moved here to Northern Kentucky to be close to her half-sister, who's one of the biggest pieces in her support system. Problem is, she had to leave another big piece, her longtime psychiatrist, behind. That meant she couldn't get the medication she needed.
Spent hours and days on the phone crying with people begging for help, saying, I need these meds, I need an appointment, I need help. It kind of makes you want to give up sometimes, because it's like, if the people who are here to help me can't help me, why am I even helping myself?
Mullins suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and bipolar disorder, which brings on manic episodes.
Outbursts, being angry, not being able to control your emotions. So I have really high highs and really low lows.
She says the medicine Seroquel helps level her out, and if she can't have it, she can't function. For weeks, she kept getting told she couldn't get her meds until she saw a psychiatrist.
They didn't have any appointments for weeks. A lot of people in my situation, when they can't get their meds, they turn to hard illegal drugs.
That's not a route Mullins ever took, but she told the people she was calling if she couldn't get her medicine, she'd hurt herself or even take her own life.
I have such a checkered past with self-harm and suicide attempts. Nobody could help me, so I ended up having to check myself into the psychiatric unit at the hospital to get the meds that I needed.
That was at St. Elizabeth in Florence. St. E physician assistant Laura Kramer says there are more options for mental health treatment in Northern Kentucky than ever before, but there are also a lot more people seeking help.
St. Elizabeth recognizes that, that we haven't quite grown as fast as the need has grown, which is why they're actively recruiting for 10 different positions. Hopefully, we can get down to a couple of weeks instead of a couple of months for everybody that needs to be seen.
Kramer says overall, more people feeling empowered to address their mental health is a good thing. Mullins agreed, though she says she'd like to see the growth in treatment accelerate.
Someone begging healthcare providers and crying at a pharmacy trying to get their meds should not be normal.
While she continues to wait for a new psychiatrist, it's taking all of her strength just to maintain.
Okay, I made it this far without letting the mania and the depression and all that take over. I gotta keep trying.
In Florence, Sam Neff, Spectrum News.
I'm the owner of this bed and breakfast. Recently, guests posted that they loved our rooms but hated our slow internet. But switching providers? What a headache, right? Nope, because I chose Spectrum Business. They made switching so easy. They worked around our schedule with a 1-hour arrival window and 5-star customer service. The switch to Spectrum Business was seamless. My staff and our guests didn't even notice. Now we have fast internet and phone service at the best value. Switching was easy. The fastest check-in, check-out I've ever seen.
As the owner of this craft brewery, my days are so full of responsibilities, there's no last call. That includes deciding how every dollar is spent around here. That's why I switched to Spectrum Business for internet and phone. Because I pay exactly the advertised price, not a penny more. And from the moment I switched, I stopped worrying about added taxes or hidden fees. On top of that, I also get fast speeds and reliable service at the best value. Cheers to my bottom line.
I am blind, but I need not see. I know this road is there for me.
With Spectrum Mobile, unlimited data is only $29.99 a month per line for 2 or more lines. That means you could save up to 60% on your phone bill by switching. 60%, and I can prove it. Well, not me, I'm horrible at math, but these people, they built the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator. And exactly what does it do?
It calculates savings.
Savings. Using what technology?
Math.
Wow. Anyway, check out the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator online and then switch and save up to 60%.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
Take Charge Ohio. Visit takechargeohio.org.
Curtis Jackson. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Abbott stepping up its infant formula production after a recall. It says it's prioritized infant formula production in Columbus. It's converting liquid manufacturing lines into manufacturing Similac liquid ready to feed. And it's also encouraging its manufacturing facilities to run at full capacity to help replenish the market. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson expected to meet with NFL officials this week in Texas. That's according to our partners at the Beacon Journal, all part of the league's continued investigation into whether Watson violated the NFL's personal conduct policy. And the Ohio Board of Pharmacy has approved 70 provisional licenses for new medical marijuana dispensaries around the state, including 6 in Cuyahoga County. There are 58 currently.
Chief meteorologist here, Raquel. Well, your weather headline as we head into the night, it'll be cool and quiet. Showers pushing off to the east after bubbling up early in the afternoon Monday. Temperatures will stay closer to normal as we head through the next couple of days. With skies becoming mainly clear during the night, we'll dip down in some spots into the upper 40s to start out Tuesday morning. We'll be comfortable and mostly dry into the afternoon. Here's your forecast for Tuesday, up to 72 in Toledo, upper 60s, though, across northeastern Ohio with lots of sun.
I got my class review. It was supposed to be a couple years ago. It's coming up in June. I wouldn't even have known about it as soon as we learned about it.
Abortion rights protests took place throughout Ohio and the country this past weekend since a leaked draft opinion from the Supreme Court catapulted the topic back into the headlines. We've been checking in with Ohio's members of Congress to see how they are responding. Our Taylor Poplar is joining us now from the Washington Bureau with the latest on this one. Taylor, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What are they saying?
So, as people across Ohio may know, if they've participated in any of their recent elections, Ohio Republicans and Democrats are pretty evenly divided when it comes to abortion rights, with Democrats supporting abortion rights and Republicans being against them. And at the congressional level, at the federal level, this has basically stayed the same and checks out. Last week, I had the chance to speak with 2 Ohio Democrats, 2 prominent ones, to get their opinion on both the leak of this draft opinion and then what they think about the idea of Roe versus Wade being overturned. First, I want you to hear from Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown, who's been a long supporter of abortion rights. He told me that the leak he considered to be wrong, but he said the bigger issue is that, in his opinion, women's rights are being under attack, especially after Roe v. Wade has been in place for 50 years. Here's what he told me.
The last thing is to give Mitch McConnell or me or Mike DeWine or any other politician the ability to make those decisions. This is not a decision that politicians should be making for women in this country and women in Ohio and across the country.
I also had the chance last Wednesday to sit down with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, a Democrat from Columbus, who also serves as chair of the very influential Congressional Black Caucus here in Washington. And immediately, once this news broke, she started talking about the disproportionate impact this decision could have on black women across the country and on black families. And she talked about it having an even larger chain reaction. Here's what she told me.
I think it opens up Pandora's box to, will we now be looking at other violations, so to speak, of civil rights issues? Will we be looking at LGBTQ issues? Will we be looking at interracial marital issues? So I am very invested in making sure that we do all we can to speak out on this issue.
And so, Curtis, Democrats from Ohio are pretty united over this. Even Democrats who used to be against abortion, like Ohio Congressman Tim Ryan, who's now the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate, he changed, kind of reversed his stance on this several years ago, and now he is staunchly for abortion rights, and he is sounding the same way that Senator Brown and Congresswoman Beatty are. So Democrats are making very clear that they're frustrated by this leak, assuming it becomes an actual decision from the court, and they're trying to, rally with President Biden to fight against it.
On the other side, Taylor, Ohio's Republican members of Congress have consistently campaigned on being against abortion rights. Have their reactions to the Supreme Court leak stood out in any way?
Well, what's interesting is that they've been pretty quiet about the actual content of that leak, that Roe v. Wade could be overturned, that there's enough support by the conservative justices on the Supreme Court. What Ohio Republicans and most Republicans here in Washington, frankly, have been critical of and have been loud about is the fact that this opinion, this draft opinion, was leaked itself. I want to put up on screen a letter that two Ohio Congressmen, Jim Jordan and Bob Gibbs, signed on to a couple of weeks ago, where it says, quote, "Whoever is responsible for this breach must have known that the draft opinion would foment discord and upheaval, potentially pressuring justices to reconsider their votes through threats or intimidation." This was part of a letter sent by Republicans on the House Oversight Committee to the current Attorney General, Merrick Garland, asking that he investigate who leaked this draft opinion and why it got out there, what the intentions were behind there. But as you saw from that portion I just put up on screen, they are basically saying that this is somebody who wanted to leak this to get public opinion, kind of to fuel the fire and to get people to convince the justices to maybe change their mind. We don't know yet who put out who leaked this draft opinion, but that's what Ohio Republicans have been focusing on, and they're consistently calling for more investigations and more investigations. It was a significant breach of kind of the quietness of the Supreme Court, but Republicans are a lot more focused and vocal about that than they are about the idea of Roe v. Wade being overturned, which is something they have long supported. Curtis?
Washington Bureau reporter Taylor Popolars. Taylor, thank you. President Biden signing an order that authorizes troops to go to Somalia. The president signed that order earlier this month, reversing former President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw soldiers from the country. U.S. troops will be stationed in Africa to support Somali forces in their fight against the Islamic extremist rebel group, Al-Shabaab. According to a White House official, less than 500 troops from the U.S. will go to Somalia. They will not engage in direct combat, but will provide security to personnel from the State Department and the U.S. Agency for International Development.
He was still practicing, but he was probably in late 60s.
Two countries joining forces in response to Russia's attack on Ukraine. The prime ministers of Sweden and Finland have announced their intention to join NATO. Both countries have avoided joining the military alliance in the past, but Russia's attack on Ukraine has prompted a change. Sweden's prime minister told her country's parliament that the country needs formal security guarantees that come with membership in NATO. Finland's prime minister says applying for the U.S.-led military alliance is an act of peace against war in Russia.
When we look at Russia, we see very different kind of Russia today than we saw just a few months ago. Everything has changed when Russia attacked Ukraine, and I personally think that we cannot trust anymore that there will be a peaceful future next to Russia with our own. That's why we're making the decisions to joining NATO. It's an act of peace that there would ever again be war in Finland.
Sweden and Finland have received support from the U.S. and Germany should they come under attack. Creating a garden of opportunities, an Ohio woman shares the inspiration behind her mission for this project. Still ahead in our Ohio Stories.
Rest easy when it comes to repairing or rebuilding your vehicle's transmission.
Finley Transmission Services, over 160 plus years, shows in the quality of our work.
We stand behind our great service, and that's the reason we're home with a 5-year warranty, serving the surrounding areas of Hancock, Wood, Seneca, and Wyandotte counties.
The only way to do it is the right way. Give us a call for your free diagnostics or go to FinleyTransmissionServiceCenter.com.
This place that I call
Explain it to her.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
My advice to all the fathers out there, they grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye-bye. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations.
No, I think he just wanted to hand it out so we all knew when the meetings were. It's kind of cool.
Make a motion to return to regular session.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
All here.
Hello, everybody. Let's see, it appears, yeah, we're all, as if we're all here. Councilman Leopard.
Mr. President, I would so move that we return to regular session.
We have a motion to return to regular session on the table. Is there a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
No, second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second to return to regular session. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to take a roll on the motion.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno. Yes.
The motion to reconvene passes 7-0. We are back in regular session at 8:44 p.m. So we will move on, continue with reports of the officers. We are now to Finance Director Kathy Kaufman.
No,
excuse me. That is a lie. We are now on to Council Clerk Forrest.
I'll be short. No report, Mr. President.
Very good. Thank you, Ann. Now we are on to Director of Finance Kathy Kaufman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the financial report for April 30th, 2022. Total receipts for the month were $4,012,960.90. Total expenses were $2,550,567.74. The general fund unencumbered balance is $4,730,228.60. Income tax receipts for April 2022 were $1,574,793.85. When comparing that to April of 2021, that was an increase of $511,286.41. We have an annual increase for income tax receipts year-to-date of 24.14% as of April 30th. The 0.25% portion of income tax receipts that was transferred into Fund 215 for public streets for April 2022 was $191,148.21. The unexpended balance for all funds is $34,953,427.70, which is the same as the bank balances for the same time period. And that concludes my report.
Very good. Any questions for Finance Director Kaufman? May I ask a member of the Finance Committee to make a motion? Council Member Iannatuno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will motion that we'll accept the Director of Finance's report and reconciliation this evening.
Thank you. We have a motion to accept the Director's report and bank reconciliation. Is there a second? Councilmember Leopard.
I'll second the motion, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Finance Director's report as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. We will now move on to Director of Law, Brent T. Howard.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Very good. We will now move on to written communication.
Mayor's request for legislation number 22-12, 2023 Urban Paving Project.
Just one moment. Now, has that been prepared for this evening, or is this something that we need to assign to committee?
No, Mr. President. I would suggest that this request, along with 2213 and 2214, 2216, 2217, and 2218 all deal with street, sidewalk, and sewer committee matters.
all of them.
And I think probably that the committee chair is anticipating that you'll refer all of those to that.
I'm
that
really excited about it.
22-15, which will be read, that has resulted in an ordinance 22-40 for this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Director of Law. Council Clerk Forrest, we continue with the written communications.
Mayor's request for legislation number 22-13, RFQs for East Perry Street Reconstruction Project. Mayor's request for legislation number 22-14, bids and contract for East Perry Street Reconstruction Project. Mayor's request for legislation number 22-15, bids and contract for Ella Street over Sandusky River Bridge Replacement Project. And that has been prepared under ordinance 22-40, as the law director said. And then mayor's request for legislation number 22-16, LTCP Backflow Prevention and Stormwater Diversion Project. Mayor's request for legislation 22-17, Riverview Estates Sewer Rehabilitation Project. And mayor's request for legislation number 22-18, West Market Street and South Monroe Street Emergency Sewer Repairs.
Very good. I would like to refer just about all of those pieces of legislation to the Street, Sidewalks, and Sewer Committee. I'd like to refer 2213, 2214, 2216, 2217, 2218 to Councilmember Perkins' committee.
And 12.
And 12 as well. Let's see, then we have Finance Director's request for legislation F22-16 will be held on file. An ordinance has been prepared this evening as ordinance 22-39. And Mayor's request for legislation 22-15 will be held on file in the clerk's office as legislation has been prepared this evening for 22-40.
And Mr. President, we also have Finance Director's request for legislation number 22-17 to amend the 2022 budget ordinance 21-105 to appropriate funds into the fire capital budget for $13,205.
Request for legislation F22-17 will be held on file in the clerk's office as ordinance 22-41 has been prepared for this evening.
And that concludes the written communication. I'm sorry, the written communications. Yes.
Thank you, Council Clerk Forrest. We are now under the portion of the evening for oral communications. Anyone wishing to address council may step to the podium, sign in, and direct their questions to Council President. Mr. Riggs, welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. Bryce Riggs, 144 South Washington Street, Apartment C. Just coming here tonight on behalf of Citizens for Tiffin, the committee that advocated for the passage of the road bridge levy. Also with the unofficial results being in, it looks like that it's going to pass, which is really exciting for our community. Just want to obviously first thank the voters for their support. I think it's very clear that the support of the administration and where this community is going, and they want to see this continue on. Obviously want to thank City Engineer Matt Watson. Without his plan in place, there would be nothing to support. And so I think Matt was obviously who came to us initially years ago and said, hey, I think looking at long-term plans, this is needed for our community. Not a lot of communities were doing it at the time, and then look at other communities around us that attempted to do this and unfortunately were unsuccessful in this last round to get additional funding for the roads. But again, I just want to thank council for all their continued support and then their plan for the future. Thank the administration and then also Aaron Motz and the voters, and looking forward to getting together again in 5 years. It seems like yesterday that Mark Hayes cornered me at a council meeting and asked me to show up and to lead the charge, but looking forward to it again in a few years, and looking forward to see the progress of our community over the next couple of years. So thank you, guys.
Very well said, Mr. Riggs. And I know I tend to give you a hard time whenever the opportunity arises, but I am very grateful for your leadership in the community and your work with the Citizens for Tiffin Committee.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? Anyone else that wishes to address council?
Yeah, I'm Glenn Ardner, taxpayer of Tiffin, and kind of concerned about the deer that are running free at night, eating up people's gardens, flowers, all hours of the night. I don't know. I think there ought to be something that could be done. I've seen out in front of my house, 2 of them ran across the road and just about got hit. Took out a car. I know there's some discussions in the past about the deer, but nothing ever came about. It was just talk. And usually every year they have a spray of the gypsy moths, and I don't think most of the city, if you took a vote, most of the people in the city of Tiffin really don't care to have their whole yards and dogs and themselves sprayed with pesticides. So, I mean, you're willing to spray for gypsy moths, but not take care of the deer problem. So that's all I got to say.
No, very well said, Mr. Ardner. Now, I've never been a hunter, so I'm going to defer to some folks that might have some knowledge. I've noticed that myself. We live on Melmore Street, and Council Clerk Forrest, right by your family home. Quite often we'll see 3 doe just in the area. I know they've eaten my wife's flowers on Melmore Street. Does anybody know, is there a reason why we seem to be having more deer closer to the city limits? I know, where did you say you live, Mr. Ardner?
Over on South Sandusky Street.
On South Sandusky, so they're about everywhere, it seems like. Does anybody have any insight with regards to that? That's a little outside my area of expertise. I would like to assign this to the Long Community Planning Committee. I know we have investigated it in the past, but I certainly think it's worth a further discussion just for public information services. So Councilman Leopard, if you would mind tackling that, I'd certainly appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Ardner.
Okay, thank you.
Were you my wrestling coach in 7th grade, or did I imagine that?
No, I wasn't. I wrestled, but I wasn't a coach.
Okay, very good.
When you were smaller.
Probably. You got to remember, you know, I was like 6 years old and thrown out of the ball pit at Cedar Point because I was too big. So I've never been small per se. Very good. Anyone else wishing to address council, please sign in and direct your questions to Council President. Mr. Fruth, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Jim Fruth. Many of you know me. I'm an attorney in this town. I've been practicing in this town for approximately 23 years and over 27 overall. For some time, I've been president of the Seneca County Bar Association, but I speak on my own behalf today. As you know, the elected judge of the Tiffin Municipal Court has now been absent from office for over 6 months following suspension. The judge received a full year suspension, and after the expiration of that time is eligible to ask to return. Reinstatement is not guaranteed, nor is there any assurance that it will be a rapid process. In the interim, what are we supposed to do? Can we just wait? Should we? What's the right thing to do? I suggest we look at the law. The Ohio Revised Code speaks directly to the issue of an absent judge. In particular, Revised Code Section 1901-10B tells us that a vacancy in the office of judge exists upon the absence from official duties for a period of 6 consecutive months. It's been longer than that since November 9th. A vacancy resulting from the absence of a judge from official duties for a period of 6 consecutive months shall be determined and declared by the legislative authority. That's you. The word shall in legal writing is a synonym for the words mandatory and must. There is no hedge language in the Revised Code. It does not say a vacancy may or might exist. Rather, it says that when someone is gone for 6 consecutive months from the bench, that there is a vacancy. The Revised Code says that the legislative authority shall declare the vacancy. The law does not say that the legislative authority may do it. That means you have no discretion. It's a shame, but you must do your job. This body has been quiet concerning this issue for 6 months now, and I get it. It's not an easy thing to consider. We all know, Judge. But you have to do your job. Your job cannot be clear. You must uphold the law. You must follow the law. You must do what the law requires. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fruth. Any other comments this evening? No play practice tonight, Mr. Kaler?
I'm done with it already, thank you.
Wonderful.
My name is John Kaler. I'm also an attorney here in town, along with Mr. Fruth. Mr. Fruth tells you that he is here tonight speaking on his own behalf and not necessarily on behalf of the rest of the local bar association. I'm here to tell you that I have spoken with many other lawyers in town, and Mr. Fruth does in fact speak for a great many of us in this local bar association. And I would echo his concerns, and I would echo his urgings to this council. Thank you.
Thank you. On a related note, you can have the opportunity to see Mr. Kaler at the Ritz for 2 more performances of Clue, Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. in the Jewel of Downtown Tiffin. Is there anyone else that would like to address council this evening in this portion of our meeting? Very good. Seeing none, we will move on to motions. No motions. Are there any motions this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions and ordinances.
There are no resolutions tonight, Mr. President, and moving on to ordinances. Ordinance number 22-34, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept an easement for sanitary sewer purposes from AAI Leasing LLC on 4 parcels of land off of Elwood and Davis Streets and declaring an emergency.
That is the third reading of ordinance 22-34. Councilmember Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask for council's approval of ordinance 22-34.
We have a motion for approval of ordinance 22-34. Do we have a second? Councilmember Perry.
I'll second, Mr. President.
Motion and a second to approve ordinance 22-34. Is there any discussion? I'd like to ask the clerk to take a vote on the emergency, please.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
The emergency passes 7-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-34 is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-35, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept an easement for sanitary sewer and stormwater drainage purposes from R&L Zeiss Family Partnership 3 Limited on land on Euclid Avenue and declaring an emergency.
That is the third reading of ordinance 22-35. Councilmember Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask for council's passage of ordinance 22-35.
We have a motion for passage of ordinance 22-35. Do we have a second? Councilmember Yanatuno.
I'll second, Mr. President.
Motion and a second for passage of ordinance 22-35. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the council clerk to take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 7-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-35 is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-36, introduced by Ben Gillig. Ordinance amending 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate $2,371 into the Park and Recreation budget.
That is the third reading of ordinance 22-36. May I ask a member of the Finance Committee to make that motion, please? Councilman Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would so move for the passage of ordinance number 22-36.
We have a motion on the table for passage of ordinance 22-36. Do we have a second? Councilmember Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for passage of ordinance 22-36. Is there any discussion? Kathy, may I ask, was this a donation?
Yeah, there were 2 donations, one from Tiffin Charitable Foundation and one from Team Kenna to the Parks Department.
So very grateful to the Charitable Foundation and Team Kenna for their generous support of our parks. Any other discussion? I'll ask Council Clerk Forrest to take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes. Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-36 is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-37, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership to apply to and receive from the Ohio Department of Development, Office of Community Development for a Small Cities Community Development Block Grant for qualifying projects and allowable administrative expenses, authorizing bidding and executing of contracts as needed, and declaring an emergency.
That is the second reading of ordinance 22-37.
Ordinance number 22-39, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance amending 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate a $2,500 donation from Taiho Corporation into the park budget.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-39. Councilman Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for suspension of City Council's three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance number 22-39.
We have a motion for suspension of our three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-39. Is there a second? Councilmember Rhodes.
I'll second that motion, Mr. President.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for suspension of council's three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-39. Is there any discussion? Councilman Leopard.
I'd just like to thank Tahoe Corporation for their continued support to Tiffin City Parks Departments.
Yeah, really, how fortunate are we to have the parks that we have with the, with hedges just being unbelievable, and now with the addition of Riverview in the second ward being revitalized, and now over by on the north end being revitalized as well. Riverside, it's really neat to see. Let's take a vote on the emergency, please, or excuse me, on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 7-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-39 is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-40, introduced by Zach Perkins. Ordinance authorizing city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, and recommend and execute a contract for the Ellis Street Bridge Replacement Project and declaring an emergency.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-40. Councilmember Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask for council's suspension of the three-reading rule and immediate passage of 22-40.
We have a motion for suspension of this body's three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-40. Is there a second? Councilman Leopard.
Second the motion, Mr. President.
Motion and a second for suspension and passage of ordinance 22-40. Is there any discussion? I believe Law Director Howard, Director of Law Brent Howard, explained that very well. This allows us to move forward with legislation that we have already committed to. Let's take a vote on the suspension, please.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 7-0. Please take a vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
Yanatuno.
Yes.
Emergency passes by a vote of 7-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-40 is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 22-41, introduced by Steve Leopard. Ordinance amending 2022 Budget Ordinance 21-105 to appropriate $13,205 into the fire capital budget.
That is the first reading of ordinance 22-41. Councilmember Leopard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask for the suspension of City Council three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance number 22-41.
We have a motion for suspension of this body's three-reading rule and immediate passage of ordinance 22-41. Is there a second? Councilmember Perry.
Yeah, second, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second for suspension and passage of ordinance 22-41. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the public's benefit, could someone explain where this $13,205 is coming from?
Councilman Leopard.
Thank you. It came from the sale of a fire rescue boat.
Now, was this on Gov Deals, or did we make?
This was on Gov Deals.
Okay.
And we sold the fish finder separately as well. On the boat.
And an extension cord and some other miscellaneous items.
Well, I was rebuffed in my attempt to buy the old jungle gym from Oakley Park that my sons miss. Very good. Let's take a motion on the suspension, please, or take a vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Suspension passes by a vote of 7-0. Please take a vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Leopard.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Gillig.
Yes.
And Yanatuno.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-41 is approved by a vote of 7-0. We are now under other business. Councilmember Leopard.
I'd like to schedule a law and community planning meeting. I will let you and Dan decide what day and date you want. I'm available anytime.
Unfortunately, I am too.
Oh, Dan, it's up to you.
Well, let me see. Just want to try for next Monday.
Works for me.
Should work for me.
Works for you? Okay. Do like 4:30?
Sure.
Okay.
And where will that be held, Councilman Leopard?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call a Law and Community Planning Committee meeting to be held Monday, May 23rd at 4:30 p.m. in the Mark Hayes Committee Room for the purpose of deer concerns and any other business that may come before committee.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Leopard. Councilmember Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call a Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting Tuesday, May 24th. I would like to do 4:30 if we have enough people available. You guys okay with that?
I'm good.
You want to do 5 next Monday, do you?
I can't.
Can't?
No, won't be able to.
Would you mind stacking those meetings up?
Put them back to back? That's fine with me because
Tuesday.
Ben's the only
That's fine.
one that's not on the
Start
Street
at
Sidewalk and Sewer
4:30?
Committee.
Ours is going to start at 4:30.
And then I'll
maybe
just
we
follow.
can
Can we do it immediately following? Perfect.
Yep.
All right, I'd like to call Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting for Tuesday, May 24th, immediately following the.
We're Monday.
Yeah.
We're Monday.
I can't do Monday.
Okay.
I thought you were moving to Tuesday, I'm sorry.
I have my son's ball game on Tuesday.
Did you want to move Law and Community Planning to Tuesday?
That's what I assumed.
I can do Wednesday if you guys want to stack them up.
Can't do Wednesday. Too many baseball schedules.
Law and Community Planning meeting's Monday at 4:30.
We'll stick to that.
After I crossed it out.
We're okay.
Blood
We have
Mobile on
enough.
Monday the
Okay, if you don't
23rd.
make it.
Yeah, I won't be
'cause
able
it's
to be
me
there
and
Tuesday, so.
We'll have those three make.
Okay.
We have enough, so.
So what day are we doing Street Sidewalks and Sewers?
Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting, Tuesday, May 24th at 4:30 PM in the Hayes Committee Room to discuss Mayor's request for legislation 22-12, 13, 14, 16, 17, and 18, and hopefully no other business that comes before the committee.
Very well said, Councilmember Perkins.
Thanks, sir.
Any other business to come before council this evening? Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to read this, something that I've prepared. At the beginning of March, I made a career change and accepted a new position in a supervisory capacity. It has been the best decision for me professionally and for my family, but unfortunately it's created a schedule conflict with me and my role here on Tiffin City Council. In the past weeks, I've struggled to find a way to be both present for this new position and to serve in my role here on Tiffin City Council. And while it was never my intention to do so, I will unfortunately be tendering my resignation from council today. The members of City Council of Tiffin and our constituents deserve someone who can commit to this role. I cannot in good faith continue to do so at this time. I chose to run for this spot on Tiffin City Council because of my profound respect for Mayor Montz, the city administration, and every council member. All of you put in a tremendous amount of work and dedication to our community, and it's a great place to live. It's been an honor to be on city council with all of you, and I hope that I may have the opportunity to serve again.
Thank you, Councilmember Rhodes. And I can say, from personal experience, we've known each other for quite some time with your boy Brandon, and I've got to talk with you, and just you're hard pressed to find somebody that cares so deeply about the youth of the community and has formed so many relationships, and especially with kids who don't have that male figure at home. And I know you'll continue to do a world of good in the community. And please don't be a stranger. It's just one of those things where it's unfortunate timing, but you've got to do what's best for your family. And I'm very grateful that you chose to run, and I'm glad we got to serve together. And I hope we'll have an opportunity again some other time, for sure.
Yeah, it was a rough decision. I do want to thank the mayor and Bridget, President Boyle. I've had several conversations with them about this, and it was a tough decision, but I had their support, and they knew I had to do this. But it wasn't easy.
Now, you are working for the railroad, correct?
Yeah, 12-hour days, 45-minute drive each way, sleeping 4 or 5 hours a day. It's been very challenging. So if I'm home, I'm either sleeping or trying to get that few hours with my kids. And,
sure.
My days off aren't usually the same. So, yeah, it's difficult to manage that schedule. But it's the choice I made, and it is what's best for me and my family.
Absolutely. Now, are you an engineer? Because I believe Mayor Mont said you couldn't even have your phone with you.
No, I'm not an engineer.
Or something to that effect.
I don't get to drive the trains.
You don't get the cool hat.
I'm a management trainee.
Oh, wow.
I am involved with, the trains, and yes, that is true. FRA regulations can't have a phone on trains, but no, not an engineer, but I'm a management trainee right now.
Yeah, I mean, just think of the tradition of the railroad in Ohio and in our nation's history. It's cool that you're a part of that.
It's been a great place so far. The opportunities they've provided me have been awesome. The whole package. You all know when I got the job, I said I was looking for a new career, and I got that. I've spent 30 years working here in town for the county and Heidelberg, and it was time for a new challenge, and I definitely got that challenge, and it's everything I thought it would be so far.
Standing.
Do you remind all your engineers not to blow their horns through?
Yes. This is a horn blast free zone.
They kind of need to do that. We don't want any accidents.
Couple quick, does anybody else have anything they would like to add for Councilmember Perry?
Just wanted to thank Councilman Rhodes for, being on. As a father myself, we'll do anything we have to do for our kids. So I think it's a commendable thing you're doing. And they'll appreciate that, that you'll have more time for them. So
thank you.
It's awesome.
And I appreciate everybody here and have, like I said, the utmost respect for what you all do and the jobs that you all do.
We appreciate that. Just a few quick announcements before we adjourn. In the audience there, we have Mr. Cade Rowe. Cade is beginning a book club, the Fort Ball Book Club, and just some really, really neat cryptozoology and just some neat literature that Cade is attempting to gather kind of for community use. I believe, are you setting up a Facebook page, Cade, or anything?
Facebook page. I gotta actually go down after this and schedule our next meeting. I think we're gonna do the second Monday of next month, which is the 13th, I think.
Outstanding. I would also like to remind residents of the Memorial Day celebration, the parade and ceremony. They'll be held on Frost Parkway. We will be honored with a presentation of a wreath from the Daughters of the War of 1812. We will also have our celebratory cannon fire. I believe the Colombian band will be performing, and dignitaries speaking, and we'll just really honor our heroes, those that we lost in conflict and those that, those warriors that passed over the course of the last year. So anything else for the good of the order? Councilmember Leopard.
Although it's not in the city of Tiffin, I would invite everyone to Attica this Saturday at 3 p.m. for the dedication of the Veteran Memorials Park. Beautiful site. If you're ever driving through Attica, just turn at the light. They're about a half block down. It's a beautiful, beautiful site.
Anybody want to go?
In an Attica, boy, I'm damn proud of it.
Well, you should be. Also, Nick, if you would mind posting in the coming weekend, I believe, or in the very near future, some of the veteran service organizations will be placing flags on the graves of our veterans. And that, I think, would be a wonderful opportunity for folks to come out, show their appreciation. I know my son Hudson, he's definitely my boy. His favorite thing to do is to go looking for the veterans' graves at Green Lawn. He always finds General Gibson's first. But wonderful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Councilmember Perkins.
One thing real quick. What's TASER stand for? He was right?
He was correct. For your information, though.
Perfect.
The gentleman named, I believe, Tim Swift, is that the name? Is Tom, thank you. Tom Swift is not the inventor. Actually, it was a book character that the inventor of the taser was quite smitten with. So named it after a fictional character.
Even better.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will stand adjourned at 9:21 p.m.
That park was nuts.
That's
I was out there last week.